Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I am here briefly just to mention a few things about what's going on in Kenyan politics as we approach June 25th, 2025. Karibuni sana, karibuni sana. Guys, if this is your first time on this channel, we talk about Kenyan politics and world politics as it relates to Kenya. So feel free. The first order of business is to like the video if you've already subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, share, like, comment, and do all the good stuff. Now let's get started. I won't stay here for long. This is just a short, brief, succinct commentary on what's going on. Number one, I want to mention the hilarious JKIA happenings with Matiangi's welcome back party at JKIA. That was the most inauthentic, ridiculous welcome I've ever seen in a while. I mean, what are these guys trying to... Ay. Woo-wee! Karibu sana, karibu sana, karibu sana. Nice seeing you, Gypsy. This will be actually my last live before June 25th. I will be away till June 25th, so I'm going to take a break. You never know, I might be in Kenya for the protest, leading the protest to the State House. So thank you so much, Gypsy Corner. Nice seeing you. But anyway, the whole Matiangi poleni sana, kuna makelele hapo kidogo. Kuna mtu anafanya kazi hapo karibu. So poleni. All right. Let me go ahead. Hebu ngojeni kidogo. Ngojeni kidogo tunipatie dakika moja. All right, let's go on. Like I was saying, we saw what happened in JKIA, and I need to buy a microphone. This is ridiculous. Anyway, like I was saying, we saw what happened with Matiangi yesterday at JKIA. Apparently Matiangi, as you guys know, I mean, anybody who knows anything about politics knows that Matiangi is Uhuru Kenyatta's, stooge, basically, project. Like many other politicians, Gachagua and all that stuff, we already know this. You already know this. I don't have to explain to you that. You already know by now. But the funny part that I really, really enjoyed that made me laugh is that I can see the play here. I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to create this not narrative, but impression that Matiangi is so loved by the people of Kenya that when he comes from wherever he came from, whether it was Texas or UN or whatever the case, World Bank, people had to flock to JKIA to receive the beloved Matiangi, who is favorite to become the next president of Kenya. I mean, yes, Gypsy Corner. In other news, Casmore is Virginia. Religious is CIA. Nice seeing you, Deep Navy. Right. Listen, guys, I said it on my I mentioned it in my previous video. The moment Casmuel, you remember that day, if you guys remember, Deep Navy and Nani and Gypsy. Remember when Casmuel and Morara was invited by the British High Commissioner for some event, dinner? It was at night, and we didn't know actually what was the main reason why they were invited there, but it was kind of like a invitation, a special invitation between Morara and Casmuel. And right after that, Morara and Casmuel kind of started developing this whole bromance, and they were all making news in every news outlet out there. They were getting interviewed and spewing their nonsense, laughing at people on Twitter. You saw that? Did you remember that? Okay, so um, again, I'm glad you mentioned this. I was shocked to see that one of the channels dedicated to Matiang'i. I've been telling you, I keep on telling you these other channels, uh, they are, let me not say working for, probably are working for, the Kenyatta slash Gachagua slash uh, Matiang'i faction. Okay, that's why you see how they talk. I mean, if you listen to them, they're so okay. They are against Ruto, but it's more like they're trying to prop up Gachagua, Kenyatta, and Nani and Matiang'i. And even if you go there, they have that cousins kind of relationship where they come if they feel like you're from another particular ethnicity, they will wataanza kutukana, block you, or whatever the case is, and you can't really engage them. They can't, because they have nothing to say. If you start engaging them, wanaanza matusi, and they start all this tribal stuff. And if you ask them to actually apologize for that, they won't. So yeah, I already know. I do not pay attention. I don't know what's going on there. I can care less about other channels. But anyway, go back to Morar. Casmuel, just very quickly. Casmuel is in Virginia. Yes, I heard. I kind of saw the post in was it X or whatever the case is, that he's in Virginia. Yes, as for those of you who don't know, the headquarters, the CIA headquarters are in Virginia. For those of you who don't know, I don't know exactly what he's doing. He went to do in Virginia. I have no idea. I can really care less. And again, you could see the Gabriel Ogudas and others are already tweeting that Casmuel is going to be the future leader of Kenya. Unfortunately, what these people fail to understand is that things are not linear as they think. Things always go head in a linear trajectory, as they might assume. There's a lot of things that's happening in Kenya that, especially globally, with all this stuff that's happening, and the West actually losing their, foothold or grip on Africa, that might affect, the plans of these Western stooges. So it might not be, a cutthroat or straightforward case of Casmuel being the next, leader of Kenya. But we say the play. But back to Matiang'i. Forget Casmuel, okay? I saw the interview at the British ambassador's residence with the two snakes, Casmuel Makoure and Morara Kebasa. Absolutely. Yes. Like when I saw that, that's when he told me, I mean, you cannot, let me say this. There's no way you can be anti-establishment, anti-Ruto, anti the political class, anti the political corrupt system, and say that and rub shoulders with the very people who are actually keeping them there in power. You can't say that I want Ruto out, I want all this political class out, or these old folks out of the system, or get rid of this corrupt system, while you're rubbing shoulders with the very people who are in charge of installing these clowns in power. Okay, so once I saw Morara and Casmuel, having dinner, going to the British High Commissioner's residence or whatever for dinner or whatever the case was, I knew these guys were a bunch of sellouts. Okay, so from then on, I knew. I mean, even before that, I told you guys, this Casmuel guy, the way he came into the scene, it was obvious that he was gunning for a position. This is a person who was put there. The way he dresses, the way he carries himself, you can see this guy is an empty suit. He's put there to be propped up as the next leader of the youth. And of course, since he couldn't find a way in the Gen Z leadership, he went and found a way at ODM and Azimio, whatever the case is. And now he's finding himself in Virginia somewhere there, going to be taught about psyops and all that crap. Whatever they're going to do there, I can care less. But back to Matiang'i. Matiang'i, what I find what's funny about Matiang'i is the fact that whoever is behind his campaign whoever is supporting Matiang'i, his team, they are ridiculous, ludicrous. I mean, what were they trying to achieve by ferrying a couple of people? I mean, I don't know how many people they were, but they look like less than 100. But nevertheless, what were they trying to achieve by sending a couple of people in the JKIA, kumlaki Matiang'i? It's an obvious attempt at trying to create this impression to convince Kenyans that, oh, Matiang'i has a huge following and he's the guy who is going to dethrone Ruto. I mean, it was so obvious and ridiculous. I was laughing, and the guy stopped and gave a speech, and I was like, "What are you? What?" I mean, this is so stupid. Like, listen, you are not going to convince me that Matiang'i is that popular. I mean, I didn't even buy the Shabana Stadium meeting. That was his folks. Kisii people went and, stayed overnight to wait for him to show up in that, in that Shabana Stadium, which is fine. They're supposed to do that. It's tribal politics. Your tribal chieftain comes back from US or UN or whatever the case is, comes back and he organizes some people to meet him or to hear what he has to say. Of course, they have some goodies for those Shabana supporters or whatever the case, the Kisii community. They waited for him overnight so that they can hear his speech. It's obvious. It's expected. That's Kenyan politics 101, the politics of yesteryears. Shangilia your own political tribal chieftain. That's normal. Now, to send people at JKIA, you saw Kioni was up there and a bunch of useless Jubilee politicians, washed up, useless Jubilee politicians who brought about this idlers who probably got paid to go up there and clap for Matiang'i, shout Ruto must go, shout Ruto ni mwizi. The whole point is they're trying so hard, they're so desperate to prop up Matiang'i as the favorite, the people's choice to replace Ruto. It's so obvious, even a blind person can see the play. This is so dumb, and they really expect people to buy this nonsense. I mean, who do these people think we are? Do they think we're that stupid? I mean, it was so funny, and Matiang'i was. He was, he came out like a freaking hero. He's pretending to be a hero. He's addressing the crowd who are eager to see him, and he's telling them, oh, JKIA is a secured whatever, but I will be addressing people. We should look for just a bunch of nonsense. I mean, to me, it was entertaining. It was a stupid, entertaining. This was a comic skit. Okay, this should be on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you have something similar to that. What do you call it? Churchill Show, whatever the case is. Okay, this is how ridiculous Matiang'i is, whatever it is. But again, like I said, it was a sorry attempt at creating this impression that people are eagerly waiting for Matiang'i to come back. Matiang'i is the popular candidate to replace Ruto. That's the message they're trying to convince us. But we're not buying it. We know the history of Matiang'i. I'm sorry. Matiang'i is Ruto's twin brother. We are not buying into this. First of all, the fact that he worked for the World Bank alone, that is a disqualifying factor right there. We shouldn't even go further than that. Okay? Working for World Bank should be a disqualification, automatic disqualification from running for president for any African state. Okay? So we are not buying this Matiang'i nonsense. I'm sorry, Kioni. Try harder. Uhuru Kenyatta, pick somebody else. I'm sorry. Use those stolen wealth, money, to prop up some other guy. We are not buying into this nonsense. I think their aim is to create a two-horse race between Matiang'i and Ruto. Okay? That's what they're trying to create, this political class. Because you can see Gachagua is basically taking a back stand. He's going to be like the guy who is going to bless Matiang'i to be the candidate or whatever the case is. Then the Martha Karuas will fall in line. You know how they are, these useful idiots. But anyway, so Gypsy Corner is saying, it's funny Gachagua was offering his goons some money to distract fellow goon Ruto in public. Absolutely. Now, that's the funny part of it. The reason why I want to say that, how I want to mention why the political class are really nervous about June 25th, this coming, is it Wednesday, next Wednesday? Is because we can see the number of distraction tactics. They are trying to distract the Kenyan people. I mentioned about the protest. That was number one. And the story, the one that I laughed at is the story of the guy who was shot on the neck, who actually had met Charlene Ruto, who is running for MCA somewhere in Homa Bay. I mean, how can you get shot on the neck and within hours you're up giving a speech, a groveling speech on how... Listen, it's ridiculous how these guys are. They are desperate right now, okay? The goons, the police brutality, easy. Boniface Mwangi of all the people came out. Listen, Gen Z, listen to me. If any member of Gen Z is out there listening to this, please factor this in. These are the signs that this regime and the whole political class are super nervous of what's coming. They are scared to death. Okay? Boniface Mwangi gave a press conference. Again, the head person, the head commercial activist in Kenya. Boniface Mwangi came out and said that people will be going to occupy parliament. Did he miss the memo? No one is going to the parliament this time. Gen Z's already occupied parliament. This time is Occupy State House 2025. And not only are they going to occupy State House, they are going to the State House and they are going to stay there until Ruto announces that he's resigning as the president of the Republic of Kenya, him along with the whole executive branch of government. Not only him, and also the legislative branch of government also shall have to, government shall be dissolved, and there shall be a transition council that will oversee the state, will be a caretaker government for the next year or so while we prepare for the next elections. But the goal is Occupy State House 2025. Now, for Boniface Mwangi to come out and say that they are going to occupy parliament, you can see another distraction tactic. I told you, at this moment, if you want to identify and know who is really working for the political elites, for the state, for the Ruto, for NIS, take a look at these clowns that are coming out and having all this press conference. Try to distract the Gen Z movement in June 25th. Just go watch. You have to ask yourself, why was Boniface Mwangi out there mentioning that the people should go to parliament? We already went to parliament. Why was he trying to, what was the aim of that? Somebody should have asked him this. Because the talk is Occupy State House 2025. So why will he come out and tell us we are going to renew? That is a sign that this guy is an NIS rat. We've known this. A lot of people have known that. Okay? So if you ever had a doubt that Boniface Mwangi is a fake commercial activist that has been hired by the NIS to distract the people of Kenya, the Gen Zs, go listen to his press conference. Why would you tell people to occupy State House? I mean, occupy Parliament. The finance bill has already passed. Why are you telling us to go to Parliament? The whole point of Occupy State House 2025 is because the reasoning is this. Last year, the Gen Zs were protesting against finance bill. taxation without representation. Okay? They made their voices known by Occupy Parliament. Ruto pretended to be, acted as if he ceded to the demands of the Gen Zs and proceeded to, pass those taxes, regardless of the voices, the majoritarian voices that was against this bill. And he also forced his way and forced the judiciary to approve the housing levy. Okay? So a year passed after all the skirmishes and the deaths that happened and the atrocities by the police, the Ruto's regime, brutal police force. This year, the Gen Zs are saying, we are not even fighting the finance bill. We already know. We don't care about what Mbadi is telling us about all these wonderful things that he proposed in the tax bill and the budget. Okay? What the Gen Zs are saying, since you guys refused to respect our voices when we asked you not to pass that finance bill, not to pass that housing levy, because we don't need those houses, since you've refused to hear our voices, we shall exercise Article 1 of the Constitution, where we shall exercise our power directly, since the representatives that we voted for are not advocating for our interest. They are not oversighting, and they are not what? Legislating. And if they're legislating things that can only what? Benefit the political class, Ruto, and themselves, whether it's salary increase and all that law about Nani, which Ichungwa wants to pass. I don't know if it's passed yet, about the transition of power, and once the president, the IEBC announces the winner immediately assumes power as the head of state. That way, it doesn't give room for the matter to be adjudicated on at the Supreme Court. So you see, the Gen Zs are saying this. Since you guys, we've asked you nicely for the past year to stop these things, deal with the corruption, stop killing the youth, stop passing these draconian tax measures, stop the brutality, stop corruption, represent the people. Okay? But you have not heeded to their calls, to their protest, to their demands as citizens. This time, Occupy State House 2025 will not be like Occupy Parliament 2024. At that time we went there, remember, we were supposed to go to State House after that, but Boniface Mwangi, who we did not identify at the time as the member of the NIS, derailed the plans. So what we are going to do this time is occupy State House, and once we do, we are not going to leave until Ruto and the whole legislative body and executive branch resigns. That is what Occupy State House 2025 basically means, for those of you who might not know what this thing is all about. This thing is all about Ruto and the political class being sent home, and after that, facing the law, justice for the atrocities that they've committed, whether it's through the police force, whether it's through their corrupt deals. I mean, Raila Odinga was today out here talking about, he regrets the fact that Adani deal did not go through. This is the guy who was pretending that, he wasn't against, he was against the Adani. I mean, what are we talking about here? Eh? Matiang'i is as bad as Ruto. Do you remember under his watch, people were killed, lost with the refugee camps closed, and all the individuals who were given Kenyan citizenship? Don't trust Fred Matiang'i. Absolutely. Crybaby Kimani Chungwa. Yes. And it's so, listen, anyone who says that Matiang'i is fit to become president of Kenya, do not take them serious. These are not serious individuals. So that's why I'm saying, what is happening in Kenya right now, the Gen Zs are the hope of Kenya. And I'm not talking about the age group, political age group. That's not who I'm talking about here. The Gen Z, as it's called, it's a representation of a political orientation. Let me just say that. I just wanted to rhyme. But they represent the plight of the people. They represent what we want to achieve. That is what Gen Z are. But yeah, so what I'm saying is this. In not so many words, these guys, political class, are scared to death. They are trembling. And between now up to next Wednesday, there will be a lot of psyops. There'll be a lot of drama. Whether it's fake police brutality, Mara sijui who has been arrested, Boniface Mwangi will fake an arrest, Hanifa will fake an arrest, sijui Nani will be arrested. There'll be so many. And the Githeri media is actually helping the regime at hand. Utasikia tu wanaleta story ya upuzi making headlines. Already Raila has started with his deadline talking about Adani. Why do you think he was making that statement? It was just meant to make headlines. Not ready for this. June 25th, these guys know that it might be the last time they fool Kenyans. And they understand that as soon as they leave power, they shall be facing something that they dread, which is justice by Kenyan folks. These guys have lived their life comfortably all their lives, fooling Kenyans, wanadhulumu wa Kenya, committing atrocities against Kenyan people, innocent people, stealing from Kenyans, keeping us poor. So they're scared. They're scared. So they have to spend their billions to choreograph these psyops that they want to wanajaribu kuweka hapa na pale, so that this June 25th is not successful. Wanajaribu kila kitu. Unaona? So we have to be vigilant. We have to be vigilant. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, today I won't be here for long, and I'll probably won't make a video until June 24th. And also, I will make a video on June 25th because I will be caught up. I might be in Kenya, ladies and gentlemen. Mkiniona Kenya, I will not go live when I get to Kenya. I will not use any gadget that has internet, because I know wale watu ambao wametoka kwa ile channel ambao there are a lot of NIS people who, they want. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you guys to just pay attention to what is happening in Kenya. Closely pay attention. Hizi drama zinataka kuongezeka, hizi vipindre, mara sijui mtu amepigwa ngumi, mara sijui Raila wants to give a speech, mara Hanifa will be arrested, mara Boniface Mwangi will be arrested. They want to, hizi mchezo tu. Okay? But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gypsy, Deep Navy, and everybody else that has been part of it. Pritipa Kaur, I'll leave it here. I know it's just 30 minutes, but I wanted you guys to notice, and I know you've noticed because you guys are, I believe you guys are really smart about this. You can see what's happening. Our Majama are busy with distraction. They're trying to distract everybody with all this nonsense. That is because they're scared that a revolution might happen on June 25th. Gachagua is busy, Raila is busy, Ruto is busy, their commercial activists are busy, the fake human rights activists are busy, because they know when this corrupt system crumbles, they also will go jobless and probably end up in jail. So it is in their best interest to do this. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, do all the good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, share, like, comment, and do all the good stuff. I will see you guys on Tuesday when I come on. And then Wednesday, of course, the D-Day, which will be the 25th, if I'm not wrong. So I'll see you then. If you're going to watch this on repeat, please do the same. Like, share, comment, do all the good stuff. Thank you, and we'll talk later. God bless. Peace and blessings. Ati, please use the Uganda or Tanzania PJ. Yeah, I will go through Tanzania because Suluhu is more trustworthy. Museveni will hand over me to Baba Shalin. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace and blessings.